The international outcry over the actions of the IDF in Gaza is front page news around the world. But narratives aside, what is the unfiltered reality of Israeli soldiers fighting against Hamas? Well, Yair Pinto is a Jewish follower of Jesus who serves in the IDF, and he's here to expose what is really happening. Yair, a lot is said about the IDF. I mean, words like genocide are thrown around, and I just want an unfiltered conversation to happen. So, Yair, as a follower of Jesus, IDF soldier, what is the reality that you experience when you're fighting in Gaza?
Well, I can tell you the story of when I first entered the Gaza Strip. So at the beginning, I was stationed just on the border, and then one day I get a phone call from the commander of the tank unit saying, Pinto, that's my family name, I want you with me in my tank in the Gaza Strip. First thing I'm thinking is like, how am I going to tell this to my wife? I mean, if Hamas won't kill me, she will. Then the second thing is, okay, I stopped the car and I prayed. I prayed to God saying that if this is from you, God, please give me peace as I enter the Gaza Strip, because the convoys to go inside are the most dangerous, and also to be inside Gaza and to be happy in the Gaza Strip. Okay? So as a follower of Yeshua, I never felt alone because God was with me. And immediately I felt peace. On the way there, I have pictures to show, and also inside the Gaza Strip. And God opened doors to share, that basically Israel is not alone, because all my fellow soldiers were sad because they saw what's going on in the news, and they felt alone against Hamas, against the international community, against campuses and students around the world that are supposed to be smart. And I told them, no, you're not alone. There are millions of Bible-believing Christians around the world that pray for you to be successful, for you to be safe against Hamas and win this war. Okay, so this is the soldiers that were fighting with me. And by the way, I just sent my wife a selfie from within Gaza, and that's how she figured out what was going on there.
Well, Yair, I can already see the comments. People are going to say, genocide, baby killers. One of the ones that comes out a lot on YouTube when we have someone from the IDF is, Zionist propaganda. And so, again, just an unfiltered, unedited conversation. Let's say some of those people that are making those comments were actually not hiding behind a keyboard, but were face to face with you. What would you tell them?
First of all, I would invite them to go into the Gaza Strip and see for themselves, okay? I would tell them, go to Gaza, take a look for yourself, tell me who's wrong and who's right in this situation. Most of them don't even know which river and which sea they're chanting from the river to the sea. They have no clue. Okay, so I think first of all, it's important to really understand what's going on. Okay, so it's catchy to say free Palestine, but there's no substance behind it. And these people are pure evil. And, according to them, after they deal with Israel, they'll go and attack the United States. So listen, unfiltered, unbiased. I've seen babies of Palestinians coming to the IDF troops, and these babies were left behind by Hamas because either they had physical problems or had mental issues of the parents, and they came to the IDF soldiers, and we gave them into hospitals that took care of them and gave them all the treatment that was needed. Only a few days ago, Hamas sent a child to the area where IDF troops are stationed in Gaza because they wanted the IDF to fire at him. And what the troops did, they sat him down, they talked to him, and they made sure he's okay before sending him back into the Gaza Strip. Okay, this is just a few examples. I went into a house just after Hamas evacuated it, and they tied down to a bed an elderly woman. And we had to let her go. She was very dehydrated. Basically, I think that the IDF is taking care of the Palestinian people a lot more than Hamas is.
Why would they tie down an old lady?
Because they want the Israeli forces to destroy the building because they hear some movement or some person, and then there's another casualty, and they can say in the news that the IDF is targeting innocent civilians.
Whoa.
That's what they want. The more deaths on the Palestinian side, the better for Hamas. This is the situation that we're at. That's why they are launching their attacks from hospitals, from schools in the Gaza Strip.
Wow, that's really disturbing. Okay, so Yair, as a messianic Israeli, a follower of Jesus, people will say all sorts of things about Israel, and I want you just to be able to have this platform, this microphone, to share your reality. Do you face discrimination in the IDF for following Jesus?
No, no, I have actually amazing conversations with my fellow soldiers, if they're secular Orthodox Jews or whatever they believe. Also Muslims, the IDF has Muslim officers, have a Bedouin unit of Israeli Arabs that are Muslims. We have Druze that are a different minority in the country of Israel. We have Christians, we have Jews, we have Orthodox Jews. Israel is basically the only country in this region that accepts the minorities that live within it. Doesn't matter if they're Arabs, Jews, Christians, Druze, or whatever they are. So, me personally, I didn't experience any discrimination, mainly curiosity, because I was always the only soldier that believes in Jesus in my unit and in my base. Almost the entire time of my military service. So it always brings some interesting conversations like, why do you believe in Jesus and you are Jewish? My answer
Yeah,
is like, that Jesus was Jewish also, and
right.
stuff like
Well,
that.
okay, so this is kind of a question that I'm going to throw up to you, and you kind of hit it however you want. Um, I know immediately that the one of the immediate comments is going to be, I don't know why they like to say this, but Zionist propaganda, which is just like, what does that even mean? I'm just talking to my buddy Yair, who's an awesome dude. Um, so again, this is a kind of a broad question, but when people say, okay, it's not kosher in the United States, at least now. I mean, it's starting to become so where you can be openly anti-Jewish, right? I don't hate the Jewish people. I'm just anti-Zionist. And the analogy I always like to give is that's like saying, I don't like the Dutch, but I just don't want people from the Netherlands to live in Holland. It's like word
Yeah.
semantics that's just totally void of actual reality. But in your experience, Yair, what is,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not the history of it, but what is Zionism, and why is that okay to hate but not okay to hate the Jewish people?
Well, the world changed, and hating the Jewish people became something that is not so popular, even though since October 7 we've been seeing, outright Jewish hatred, and people are not ashamed of that anymore. But just before that, it became acceptable to hate ideals or to hate people that live in certain countries that have certain ideals. Basically, what's Zionism? Zionism is, I mean, believing that the Jewish people should live in Israel, okay? And you can be a Christian Zionist, and you can be a Jewish Zionist, and you can believe in Jesus and be a Zionist, or a Muslim Zionist. It's basically an idea. But saying that Zionism is something wrong and connects lies around the world, that's the danger, because you're basically saying, okay, you have no right to live in the country of Israel. You have no right to believe that you should even have a country anywhere around the world. And you are using this idea of, I don't know, wanting to live peacefully in a country to destroy the entire world. They're basically turning this world into a curse. And that's very dangerous, because most of the people around the world just don't know what they're saying. And saying, oh, it's because you're a Zionist. It's like they're paralleling it with, it's because you're a terrorist. So that's the very, very odd and distorted truth regarding these remarks.
Yeah, and as a student of Jewish history and a follower of Yeshua who loves the Bible, the Jewish presence in the land of Israel is at least 3,500 years old. Basically the entirety of the Bible, the Old and New Testament, outside of maybe, Luke and Acts, is written by Jewish people. And there's been a continuous Jewish presence in the Holy Land for 4 millennia. And so the idea that saying Zionism is as a curse word, it's almost ridiculous. It's like the idea that Jewish people shouldn't live in Judea is somehow a curse word is beyond me. But Yair, I so value your perspective. I so value the place that God has placed you. I think God is using you like crazy right now, my friend. And I always say this, buddy. Whenever I talk to you, you just have so much joy. I know you're tired. This is like the 19th video you've made today, but you just have the joy of the Lord overflowing from you, man. And I can feel the Holy Spirit, the Ruach Hakodesh, coming off of you, man. And I love you as a brother, Yair. So again, stay safe. God bless. Toda rabah, achi.
Thank you. Bye-bye.